Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be my first Bible review on this channel, which to me is extremely exciting, not because of the Bible we're reviewing necessarily, but because I've watched so many of these reviews on YouTube. It's pretty exciting for me to actually be doing the first one, although I know it won't match up with some of those other guys and what they do. But the first Bible we're going to be reviewing is the ESV Preaching Bible by Crossway. So I got this Bible in the mail. Pretty excited to check it out because this one was specifically designed for pastors and for the task of preaching. So they had a bunch of pastors that gave them some feedback, and the feedback that they gave was the feedback that resulted in the creation of this Bible. So all this information is available online, so I'm not going to go too much into what's in the box, but let's look at the actual Bible. So this is a black goatskin. This goatskin it's a really, really soft goatskin. I've got some Crossway heirloom Bibles. I've got some Crossway Bibles that are not heirloom, and this leather, it says it's goatskin. So if you look at it in the back, it actually says that this is goatskin leather. But this leather is so soft, it almost feels like a calfskin is what it reminds me of. I've got a calfskin classic reference is what I think it's called, and it almost reminds me of that. It is so soft. So outside is kind of the standard Crossway look. It's got the raised hubs, Holy Bible, ESV, English Standard Version. They really like to, and other people have pointed this out before, but they really like to fill in each individual spot on the spine. So that's nothing abnormal. So the art gilding on this is not as rich. Like if you have, trying to get this in camera. See, I'm not used to doing this, so this is going to take some getting used to. If you have a heirloom Bible of any kind, you'll notice that the red is not as red as it is on the heirlooms. This is more of a salmon color. It's kind of a pinkish red, but it looks really good. I think it's well done. People have made comments about it. There's some scuffs and stuff on it, but I mean, I don't expect it to be perfect because I'm gonna tear this up the way I use my Bibles anyway. It wouldn't stay perfect for very long, even if it was. So I'm not super worried about that. You open up the cover. I'm not exactly sure what the liner is, but it's well done. Like I said, this is a very, very soft cover. The corner work is not exactly the best thing I've ever seen, but like I said, this isn't an heirloom Bible, so I'm not expecting heirloom quality here. It is an edgeline Bible, and what that means is that the block, and for most people watching this, they're already going to know this, but that the block is tabbed into the cover. So that's what gives it the strength and holds it in there, which you can see there. And if you watch many of these reviews, you probably already knew that. So a couple of blank pages here for whatever kind of notes you want to put in here. You get to your standard Crossway pages presented to, and actually that's interesting. So I'm kind of looking through this the first time, which is something I'll have to do in future videos, is kind of look through this before I get on the camera. But Crossway normally has a births, deaths, weddings kind of, I think there's 3 pages normally of different family information. In this one, they just have the presented to, and then it goes right into the front matter. So I don't know if that's because this is a preaching Bible. I don't know if that's because pastors said, hey, we don't want that, get rid of it. I'm not exactly sure why they did that, but that's an interesting choice on their part. This is the 2016 ESV text, and this was printed in China. So I'm not sure how well that's showing up on camera. Maybe I should try my iPhone next time for this. You go into some front matter information about the ESV translation. And you'll notice that even in here, and you'll notice this in the text, This is wide margins. I mean, these are fairly good wide margins. There's not a whole lot of margin. There's a little bit of margin, but there's not a ton on the inside. But this is you'll see here in a little bit that this is a single column Bible, so I don't necessarily need a ton of room on the inside. If it was double column, I definitely would, but for single column, I'm okay with just this nice wide margin on the outside. So some features of the ESV, and then we're right into the text. So Old Testament, and here we'll see our first page of how it looks. Single column. This is not the verse by verse, which Crossway has come out with a verse by verse version of this. This is the paragraph format. Truth be told, I actually had a verse by verse version of this. That was the first version I got. And I'm not a huge... It's a big transition for me to go to single column, because I'm normally a double column guy. So go to single column and the verse by verse, it was just too much. I didn't even want to use the Bible. So I traded someone for this brand new copy of the single column paragraph format. But you'll see those margins are nice and wide. And if you had to write some symbols, you could put some symbols in there, but these are nice wide margins. The paper's not bad. I'm impressed with the paper. I am not a fan of the heirloom paper. It's real thin. I'm not a huge fan of it. So this paper, and I'll have to see as I get into this Bible, I'm going to try to use it for a while, how it holds up. But it seems to be fairly good paper compared to the heirloom. I like a little bit heavier paper, which this seems to be. So let's get to some of the poetry stuff. So this is kind of what the poetry sections look like. Tons of space for writing. This is a good, the font is a fairly decent size. I think it's a 10-point font is what they advertise. I do wish, and I know someone mentioned this in one of their reviews, that the verse numbers were supposed to be a little more standoutish. They were supposed to be a little more bold. They're really not, but there's workarounds for that. I don't remember in the verse by verse if they were. I probably should have looked at that. So this should be a cool Bible. It's going to be hard to get used to the single column because I think there's potential to get lost when you're reading publicly. Not so much as you're reading a line, but as you get to the end of that line, finding your next spot to start. I think there's some potential there for, wait, where was I? You come to the back, and there's not a whole lot of stuff in the back. You come to Revelation, and then you've got table of weight and measures, one blank page, and then you're into your maps. That's a little... and I'm looking at this right now at the end of Revelation, and it seems to hold it down. Some people say that they want the concordance to hold down the last page. This doesn't seem to have a problem with that, so I'm not super worried about that staying down. I mean, that's the last page of Revelation right there, and that's holding itself down. So I think that's going to be all right. And then you've got your maps, and then a couple more blank sheets of cardstock. Really, because this is where you're tabbed in here. So this one is like a half sheet. So, and then you're at the end. So that is the ESV Preaching Bible. I'm going to spend some time with this Bible the next couple of weeks. My go-to Bible lately has been the ESV Heirloom Wide Margin. So this will be quite a change, but I think I'm going to give this a shot for a while and kind of see what I think. But if you like single column and you're okay with a little bit bigger Bible, because I will say that this is a little bit bigger Bible compared to like the Heirloom Wide Margin or a thin line. It's not quite the size of the ESV Study Bible, but it's a little bit thicker Bible. I mean, size-wise, it's bigger than hand size. And it's fairly girthy. So it's a big Bible to be carrying around. But if you like bigger Bibles, if you're just going to set it in the pulpit and you're not really going to walk around or carry it,
and you like single column, then the ESV Preaching Bible might be for you.
Thanks for checking it out, guys.